What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Creatives. I'm your co-host, Tevin Brown.
And I'm your other co-host, Simone Campbell. And today we have two wonderfully creative guests in store for you again. We have Andre Sebastian and Solita Expressions. They are putting on fantastic Atomic 66 Festival, plenty of other wonderful things, local events that you should definitely look more into because they're incredible. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Totally.
So I guess getting right into it, for those that aren't as familiar, what is the Atomic 66 Festival?
Well, Atomic 66 is, this is the inaugural year, the first year that this is happening. Last year, I was the event producer for Space Fiesta. This year they wanted to do it again, but they really wanted to expand it. Mm-hmm. And so they came up with this idea to connect space and Route 66 together. And so I think it's our experiment of a South by Southwest concept. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited. It's kind of just building the ship while it's flying, some people say. So that's kind of where we are, and we're really, really excited.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool opportunity to utilize multiple locations in Nob Hill to create immersive experiences.
Totally.
We're including space, technology, and art, and it's an all ages event, so super inclusive, and we're just trying to get people excited about the future and the potential that we see in our city.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I can't think of a better place than New Mexico with like all of the history, and of course we have Roswell, so you got that too. But what inspired this idea?
Again, I think it kind of was the space industry really wanted to start celebrating how New Mexico is connected to space, and we could talk about Chaco Canyon, like the cultural aspect, and then we have like all the rocketry. But a lot of times we don't do a good job of marketing ourselves and connected to these kind of things. So, you go to Houston, it's like, oh, NASA, but New Mexico has a stronger history in that, and so it was a way to kind of really get everybody involved into as the new space age is coming, and New Mexico has a great opportunity to play a role in that. And so again, I think the concept starts with space, but they want everyone to participate, in that economy. And of course, like, I think the artists, the creatives drive that more than just, the rockets. I think we did an interview the other day, and I said, the sci-fi is the grandfather of science in this idea that the imagination is what drives the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to just like second that, like opening up people's imagination and giving them more spaces to explore that as New Mexicans and what that looks like, painting a landscape of the potential of film, the potential of tech, the potential of what the creative landscape, the fashion landscape could look like as we give more support to those ideas.
And I'll add that as New Mexicans, we don't have to be astronauts. We can be space cowboys.
Absolutely, we can be.
And
that's even cooler. Just saying.
No, I love that, and I even love going back to your earlier statement. I never heard that before, but it makes so much sense where sci-fi is the grandfather of science. Because I remember one of my favorite facts that I always learned. I'm a huge Star Trek nerd. Thank you, my brother Tim, for putting me onto it. But I would always learn the cell phone came from someone watching Star Trek and seeing Captain Kirk open up his little telecommuter piece. And so I love kind of that idea of really celebrating that and that connection between art and space and like so many different things. And I love this whole concept. And as you said, this is the inaugural year for Atomic 66 in this grander view. And so I guess my question is, with the Space Festival also, because this is another year for this coming around, like what kind of events and things can people get excited, kind of just like looking out for when it comes?
Well, the Lobo Theater is definitely curating something special. We have some installs being completed as we speak. We got live music, we're going to have a DJ, bands, there's going to be specialized food and drinks, and we also have a particular event dedicated just to food and beverage at Fat Pipe, which is a co-working space. We have education and workshops happening at Matucci's. Half-Life is offering, I think, kind of an immersive space experience as well.
It's a soft launch.
Yeah.
Shout out to Half-Life, which is a digital production studio with an LED screen. So really cool, different kind of touch points. The Lobo Theater is, and everything that's happening there is going to be our central stage, and central hub for everything. But, we are activating different things from tech talks to STEM programs at Q Station, youth days there. And so I think you can get tidbits of different things happening, but again, the Lobo Theater is where the immersive experience is happening. I mean, you just have to go. I mean, the build, it's basically we're building out a spaceship, so.
It's coming out so cool.
It's going to be so cool. I can't wait. And it's so exciting. You can tell that there's so much time and energy that you guys have invested into this already, and there really is something for everybody. So I'm curious, I think that you're doing more of like the creativity, like the entertainment aspect. So what does that look like for you, kind of bringing the science and the creation together?
Yes, so there is a robo dog coming into play here shortly, so you will be seeing that in some of our content. We're going to be taking a little Nob Hill stroll to some of our locations. We're definitely going to try and involve more local faces. I think micro influencers haven't really touched this side of the industry, so I definitely want to get them more involved as content creators, and as content is becoming more of a king in today's marketing landscape. And I think also just recognizing the production side of things. So aside from even just the marketing assets of videography, photography, social media management, the people that are actually taking their time in their hands to build these exhibits and immersive experiences, kind of giving them their credit and allowing for more people to be inspired to do such level of production.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we also have commissioned a couple of muralists to do 4 murals that are going to live inside of the Lobo Theater. And we're going to have a pop-up market inside of the Lobo Theater with some local vendors. And, like I said, we're just kind of just throwing it all in now. We're all saying, okay, why not?
Because
because we can. We have a stage, and I'm like, let's just keep building it. Let's just keep including people, because I think this is where that collaboration, I think, really exists, is when we're able to say, hey, I have an asset. How many people can we get in, and not kind of like hold this of just like, I only want selected few, but really, how do we build collaboration?
Right.
Through the arts, because I feel like that's one of the hardest things that I feel like being back in New Mexico has been the hardest thing, is artist collaboration.
Definitely.
Like sharing the vision and just allowing people to foster their own imagination with this similar vision in mind. So I think with vendors, with visual artists, with stage building, with music, we all are kind of just taking our imagination and molding it around space, art, tech.
I love it.
No, I love it so much. And I guess the question that comes to my mind, because my initial question was going to be kind of what's your favorite part of this whole process, but that kind of sounds like there's so many different encompassing pieces to it. So I guess a question that kind of came to my mind are, A, what are some of the challenges that have come with this? And B, how do you feel that the community that you guys are kind of building help you get through those challenges?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I think Atomic 66 is encompassing a lot of big ideas, and I feel like in a way it can feel a little ahead of its time. And I think as we're starting to be more present, at least within the social media side of things and just building the brand out in general, I think launching a brand takes a lot of heavy lifting at first. Yeah. However, going back to the collaboration side of things, the inclusion aspect of where we're including so many different people and locations, I think is really what's starting to hoist us up and is what is going to help us reach this ultimate South by Southwest vision that we're trying to model after.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of moving parts and difficulties in, I mean, and to be honest, I mean, like, I came on board as an event producer 3 months before this event started, and you never do that. You're like, wait a minute, you only have 3 months to do this. But I think the collaboration from community has been so supportive.
Totally.
Such as, you know, I think at the Lobo we're expanding more programming, and part of that programming is including like talks around the future of food, the future of creatives, the future of youth, you know, and a fashion summit, right? And so I think those communities that want to get involved have supported those aspects of it, you know, because like, again, I said, we have an immersive experience, we have a stage, let's just do it, you know, and again, I think through all the other difficulties, we won't talk about all the difficulties we've had, but I think because the positive energy around people wanting to be collaborative and being part of it is a lot stronger, you know, and that is, I think, the beauty is when we have that kind of creating the energy for something like this.
Absolutely. And, you know, it takes a village in all contexts, but especially here. And I'm curious if you'd be able to give us a sneak peek in like some of the local creators that you're working with, or like the people that are going to be part of the experience, if you can.
Are you going to release information?
Let's sit on that. Do you have somebody?
Well, we definitely know Angela, right?
Angie, yeah.
Caitlin the painter, I believe. We might have red light cameras in the mix.
Sweet.
Prism Bitch, I think, might be participating.
Well, we're still negotiating. Like, we really hope, you know, are hoping for community to come in.
And then Chris, that does the builds for us,
Yeah.
right? Chris Berger, he has done a ton of work
Yes.
for this. Who else off the top of my head? Love Weld, Flyby Provisions.
Sweet.
Who else is on our
Yeah,
vendor
I'm
list?
actually really excited that Love World is coming. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she has a shop in Old Town, and she, you know, does permanent jewelry.
Oh, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So that's one.
So Pipea Productions, what is it? CID Creative Industries,
Creative Industries is supporting this.
AFNMX,
AFMX. Which is
Okay.
Albuquerque Film
Experience, which they're doing a whole film block at the Guild Theater on Thursday.
Oh, sweet.
So, I
Nice.
mean, from some of their films that have to do with space that have won in the past. So there's a whole curation of organizations that are really coming together for this.
Wow.
And again, I'm actually excited about all the different creative organizations that are coming together, you know, because I think sometimes we get overlooked. And so one thing that we did is Space Fiesta is getting funded, the largest funding from like Visit Albuquerque, City of Albuquerque. But what Chris and I, the other producer, said was, we want to extend this experience and we want to invite more people in. So even if the arts doesn't get as funded, we created that avenue, you know, through an organization, you know, an industry that gets funded more likely, like the space industry, tech and startups, but they don't have the community like the creative community does.
It's true.
And so, you know, and that was one avenue that we really wanted to bring forward, is give that an opportunity to participate in this. So
That's so cool. And it seems like you're doing that. It's like such a beautiful web of connection that you've got growing. So that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love that. And kind of speaking of connection, more so, have you guys worked together for, like, have you also worked on Space Festival, I guess is more of a better word of what I'm asking. And then if not, kind of how did you guys meet and how do you guys feel like you blend together as a team?
You go.
well, she actually told me no. So
Yes.
So last year I did ask her to help, you know, participate in Space Fiesta and all those things. But you know, it's all good. We don't, you know.
He's like, dress up as an alien or like be a space cowgirl and just like make an appearance. And I was like, I don't know. I was like trying to figure out like where my positioning was and all of it. And also I think when you hear of an event for the first time and you're working off of like the conceptuals, and you're not quite sure, like if you haven't experienced it for yourself for the first time, you're like, what to anticipate, like what is going to be too outlandish, what is not going to be interesting enough. So I think at first I was like, what is Space Fiesta, right? And so I got to see some of the pictures, and Andres was telling me more about the concept, and I think more so hearing of the concept and the interweaving that was happening and the futurism that was involved as far as like being progressive with this festival. I personally love any kind of festival, but I especially loved the modeling of this one, kind of like the South by Southwest. And I think where we intersected more so was we've always had big ideas around fashion. And we were like, we want to create something that's immersive, that is very South by Southwest-esque with the network that we know that exists in New Mexico that I'm very close to. And then Andres has had the experience of going to larger cities like New York and seeing these actually come to life. So I feel like he has a lot of expertise and experience with larger scale productions and understanding the nitty-gritty with textiles and big name designers. And I feel like I have the connection to the bootstrappers that live and work and play in the downtown Nob Hill area. So
the locals.
When the two worlds collide, I'm like, I see a lot of opportunity there. I haven't been to New York myself, so I think of Andres as a mentor and a friend when it comes to those kinds of things. But I know a lot of like-minded individuals who are creative like myself that would be really excited about something like that. So I think Space Fiesta and this opportunity particularly is I'm trying to open the door for my friends and other people that I think would like those kinds of visions to dip their toes in and to get involved and to kind of have the same eye-opening opportunity experience that I've had as I've worked more with Andres about how we could do bigger, be bigger, dream bigger kind of vibe. Yeah. What about you?
What was the question again?
How did we meet? How we worked together
snaps.
after you put me under the bus saying that I didn't want to work with you? After you're trying to gaslight me on camera.
Shade.
Just kidding, yeah, literally. The shade room.
Oh, man. I mean, I think we've kind of crossed paths in many different aspects, you know, like me moving back to New Mexico. I wasn't originally from here, but been in New York the last 10 years, working in film, fashion.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Nice.
so yeah, just coming back and kind of really trying to get integrated into that. This past year, I was the fashion mentor for Siembra High School students. We just completed the first semester of that experience, you know what I mean? And so just, yeah, I think both film, fashion, and, you know, she's kind of like in that cross-section as well, you know, and so we just, you know, I believe in her hustle. So I was just like,
Respect it.
I respect her hustle, man. And so I was like, yo, you need to be part of the stuff that I'm part of, you know, what I'm doing. Because no one person can do it all alone, you know. Like I said, the other event producer, Chris Conard, he's been really did all the set design for this, you know, with his partners. And I mean, we're the type of people who say, you know, if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And he's been fabricating, he's been building all of this. If, you know, we've been trying to get as much interns, you know, and help through, you know, the industry, the film industry on these things. And we're just like, whether it comes or it doesn't, we're building this,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that sometimes it takes that here in New Mexico because, you know, when I first went to New York, man, I was a dreamer. I was like, yo, I could do everything.
Your head was in the clouds,
Yeah,
your gaze was up here. Yeah.
And everybody's like, what have you done? Can I see your portfolio? And I was like, can I see your portfolio?
Cough it up first, yeah.
You know, and they open their books and it's models and it's magazines. And I was just like, well, I got some landscape photography, you know. So one of my journeys at least in the fashion world, is kind of that story, you know. And I was like, yo, I need to learn. So I actually studied under a fashion photographer in New York for a few years.
Oh, wow.
To get, you know, like my feet wet. And I was like, yo, my ego's not that big where I can't learn. We always got to be learning, you know what I mean? And so the fashion journey itself has just taken me even to, I was in Paris for Paris Fashion Week when COVID hit. So we almost got stuck in Paris, in France. Everything was closing down because I don't know if you guys know the story. everybody came from Milan to Paris and brought COVID. And so we had our show, and 3 days later, France is shut down. You know, so like, yeah, and you know, and just having that journey and coming back to New Mexico and saying, hey, what do we need access to? You know, how can we continue this journey of what do our creators need? You know, and so yeah, that's kind of how we've collaborated and crossed paths, and you know, just looking at, you know, what she's doing and saying, hey, how can I offer you knowledge or experience that I've you know that I've had. So yeah, so we're even excited to bring a fashion summit to the Atomic 66. It's going to be Friday the 13th. I believe you guys might be participating in that.
Yes.
Super excited,
Surprise.
moderating. No, that'll be so much fun. And it seems like you guys do work really well together, and you have such a fantastic story. And I'm curious to hear more about yours and like your creative projects that you're working on right now. So
yeah, I'm freelancing for myself right now. I made a little bit of a leap a couple months ago. So I do social media management. I'm an event producer myself, and I specialize in photography. I have a group called the Burke Baddies, where we do events and talent opportunities / management for femmes and thems. Happy Pride.
Yes.
Right? Supporting Andres, obviously, with his projects, but I'm basically just passionate about the intersectionality of creatives and people that have big ideas. So super gritty as a person, love to get my hands dirty. I love to work really hard, and I love to collaborate. So I'm super open to that in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
It's an honor to be collaborating with you now.
Yes,
Like,
thank you.
yeah,
Thank
totally.
you. Yeah, I love meeting new people, and I love just being involved in the ways that I can.
She's walked in a few shows local, right?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything on both sides of the camera. I've done some modeling. I want to eventually start making some clothes myself. Currently, I'm just hoarding clothes, as many of us do.
Valid.
Yeah, I just love being in any aspect of the fashion world or production or events. I did Somos this past year. I was part of their marketing team, so I just want to continue to build more immersive experiences, both of my own kind and of others, for our people to enjoy.
Sweet. Did he just save himself from calling you out earlier? From
Maybe.
like plugging you for modeling? Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. You can hire me for whatever. If you want photos, modeling, event production, if you want me to help wipe your windows, I'm very open-minded.
Whatever it is, she's like, I'm just going to hustle.
I'm a supporter of all crafts.
Love it.
I love that so much. But guys, as we're starting to round out, I want to make sure, obviously, Friday the 13th, please be sure to go to the Fashion Summit. We will be there moderating. But then, as well, Atomic 66 is bigger than just the 13th. What are some of the dates for Atomic 66? I know we're also showing
Technically, it
them,
starts
but,
on the 10th
yeah.
and goes to the 15th.
Technically, it starts on the 10th, but I think the larger component is that 11th through the 13th happening at the Lobo. You know, and then the kind of the touch points of different areas. We do have a after experience at the Lobo on the 14th.
Nice.
Which is like some DJ battles that we are going to be, yeah, that's just, yeah.
It's going to be out of this world.
I might enter. I am learning.
Sweet. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
so great. So please remember, starts pretty much the 10th, but a lot of it's going to be going on the 11th through the 13th at the Lobo Theater. And where online can people get a lot more information if they want to know? It's not only about you, but as well about Atomic 66, so they can kind of follow you guys' journey.
The website for sure is like our strongest platform where you can get the most information and do any sort of registration activity. So atomic66.com, I believe, right?
ORG.
Wow.
My boss. Sorry. And then our social media is at atomic66, the number 66 NM.
Sweet.
So, and we have a Facebook too, so feel free to like and follow.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being on here and letting us know about Atomic 66. And also, can't wait to be there and experience Atomic 66 for the first time, as well as the Space Fiesta, because I know I've been messing that up.
First 500 people, free drinks.
Ooh,
First 500 people, free drinks. So
Incentive.
please make sure to go behind me so I can be within the first 500. Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. I know my ending there was a little rough.
No, it was
A
great.
little tired.
You're thinking.
What would I do without Simone?
I got you.
Please be sure on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Also be sure to go to atomic66.org to check out more information about Atomic 66 as well as the Space Fiesta. Once again, I am your co-host. Oh, before I do that, thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you to Studio 519 for letting us film here. Thank you to all of our guests that we've had in the past and those we're going to have in the future. And once again, my name is Tevin Brown.
And I am your other co-host, Simone Campbell.
And please have a great night.
I don't cry. I don't hide. I don't